Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. So thankful and excited to have our friend Coach Barnes here joining us again. And, sometimes some great conversations happen off air. So we just had a whole conversation, which is great for the show. Let me just say, Coach Barnes is an amazing woman, and she's dealing with some of her own health issues. She's very open and honest about what she's going through, what she does. And she had a little rough recently, but you know what? She's pushing through, and she's reminding people that we all have flaws. We all don't have it good. And so I just want to commend you for being so open and honest with everyone and being that type of coach, a good person, right? Please introduce yourself.
Thanks so much for that, Jill. Yes, it is Coach Barnes, founder and CEO of Gold Mine Thoughts, located at 55 Washington Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11201 in the heart of Brooklyn. And I am so happy to be here with my friend Jill. She is definitely helps me stay accountable and pushing through days, and she allows me, we go back and forth and we talk things through. So this is the great platform to come and hear. If you want to hear some real life inspiration, if you want to walk away with some strategies, Jill and I are here, and she's allowing me to use this platform to share a bit of myself and what my services can do and how they can help you.
Beautiful. And goldminethoughts.com, is that where we find you?
Absolutely. GoldMineThoughts.com. Also on social media platforms at Coach Barnes GMT.
Beautiful. Each and every session we have together is very special, as well as you and your clients. You have a very unique connection to each client, and you're not a cookie cutter type of coach. Really, I have to commend you on that, because you really get to know someone on a personal level and genuinely care for them. I mean, some coaches that can you just explain your process, because you really are just a genuine person, and I'm so happy to be here with you. Really, you make me smile all the time. So go ahead. I'm gonna get misty
Thank you. So as Jill was saying, yes, every client has their own tailored program that allows them to be the best version of themselves. So that's why I don't use cookie cutter plans or strategies, just because there's no two people that are the same. You may have similar situations, but they don't impact you in the same way. And people have different levels of resilience. Some people are extremely resilient and can navigate through anything, and just have a great perspective in the way they how they turn things around. However, we do have those who struggle a little bit and need that extra push to build in their resilience. And what I like to do is use the strategies and the strengths that they already have access to, that they already know, to help them develop those growth areas. Most coaches like to say weaknesses. I call them growth areas, because everyone has potential to grow, and everyone has something that they're working on. So when you look at it as a weakness, then you're looking at it as you have deficits. But if you look at it as a growth area, then you look at it as I have potential. I have your perception around that area changes, because you feel like there's something I can do to adjust this. So if you walk away with anything today, walk away knowing that you have strengths and you have areas of growth. And what you can do is utilize your strengths to uplift and enhance your areas to grow.
Absolutely. And that's what you're here helping us do. And share a little bit more. What have you been up to? What are you doing? Who are you helping?
Absolutely. So I had to take a little pause for about 2 weeks, just because of, again, I'm always open about my health issues. I am currently fighting pulmonary fibrosis as well as lupus, and I have chronic episodes of syncope, where sometimes I randomly pass out. So going through that and navigating through those things while trying to manage my business, writing my books, all of those things, as well as giving my clients my all. I needed to take a step back for a moment so that I can reset and recharge. so that I can be the best version of myself in order to help others be the best version of themselves. So again, I'm open, I'm honest, I'm open about that because I like my clients to know that the strategies that I'm giving them and the tools that I'm giving them access to, they actually work because I use them myself as well. And that's what sets me apart from so many other coaches. Because this is not just textbook. Sure, I can take your money, I can give you textbook cookie color things, and they may or may not work for you. But what I can guarantee you is that working with me allows you to develop what you need to be the best version of yourself. And that's something that I can guarantee because I know that these strategies that I'm using absolutely work. I know, and I do combine them with some of the research and things that I do. So I don't want you to think like, I want people to think like I'm just going off the top of my head. I am, I do have education background in this. I'm currently studying, in the process of getting my PhD in advanced human behavior. So I have the certificates, I have the paperwork to back this up. However, it's more personal and more intentional when you can say to someone, I've been in a similar situation. And I believe these strategies or these tools may be of some use for you. So it's not like taking over their situation, but it's letting them know that you're not alone.
True.
And so when most people are going through trauma or turmoil at work and things like that, and they're speaking to their regular colleagues or their supervisor, it's almost sometimes they feel like they're being dismissed because it's like there's other staff here and you just have to pull it together, you have to figure it out. But when you're working with a coach, when you're working with a leadership development coach or a life coach, it then zero ins on you, the actual person, and allows you to look at your situation and say, okay, but how do I let certain things go? And what do I do so that I can feel like the work that I'm doing is being valued, so I can feel like I'm being seen, heard, and that I matter within this institution that I'm in. Because if you don't feel those things, then you need to start reassessing whether this is a place that you want to be. That's why I always say, keep that resume polished. Because sometimes you have to know what letting go looks like for you. Now, I will never encourage anyone to quit their job and just walk away without having a plan. And when I say having a plan, that means you have already been sending your resume out. You have already been on interviews. You have already secured a new position. So when you walk away from this one, you're walking into a better situation. You're walking into a position where you can be utilized, your services will be utilized, they'll be received and seen, heard, valued, but you also have that quality of life that you're looking for. And that quality of life goes for both professional and personal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here. And let's remind everyone, goldminethoughts.com. Coach Barnes, is there anything specific that's happened? Any clients' experiences you want to share with us? Or did you have, something that you wanted to talk about in regards to what makes you a good coach? I know it makes you a good coach. What people out there may be looking for? Are they tired, burned out? Are they stressed? What have you seen coming up? I know now we have the fall upon us, right? So fall, winter,
Right.
I would seem there's different problems with people in a sense, that different hurdles to try to accomplish at this point.
That is so correct. And I'm glad you brought that up because there is getting ready to be a shift. The season is getting ready to change. And so you have less time to, walk around, hang out, enjoy the sun, have that leisure time because it's going to start getting a little cooler. Kids are going back to school. So if you're a parent, you have to be home to help your children with their homework or whoever you have that, if you're a guardian, those kids with their homework. Things of that nature. You have to worry about what's going on in school, making sure they're safe. You're worrying about, you're worried about smallpox, you're worried about, all the monkeypox, all this stuff that's going on, COVID, and work, and work. So there's so many different things. But you also have that shift of, okay, Now I have to get back to giving my all to work, right? Because the summertime is gone. Less happy hours.
Yes,
you know,
unfortunately. Yeah, yeah.
less socializing. And it's more work for bigger projects and things of that nature. And so for me, I think for the listeners, I want to say start start creating a vision board of what you want your fall to look like going into it. Right. So now it's time that you revisit your focus, revisit your goals, and start planning what, like, your progression. How do you see yourself progressing over the
Mm-hmm.
next 6 months? We're not even gonna focus on the entire year. We're gonna focus on the next 6 months. What do
Yeah.
you see yourself progressing? Let's do some small bites. What do you see yourself progressing? Because if you break it into 6 months, then you can do your check-in. You can do your check-in between 2 and 3 months if you need to make any adjustments. By the time you hit 4 months, you're like, okay, this is going. I'm picking up the pace. I'm seeing the change. Then
Yeah.
you might want to tweak something and
Yeah.
add a little more. But by the time you get to that 6 month,
It's more.
you can actually step back and see your growth. You can see, like, wow, I was able to accomplish this. Can you imagine if I set my focus, my focus and my goals for a year? So
Yeah.
now you have that 6 month of what you accomplished. Now you can say, okay, well, let me go for the next 6 months. Let me see. Maybe I want to
Mm-hmm.
accomplish something different. And then those accomplishments that might be, I want to go for a promotion at work,
Yeah.
or I want to take this professional development course so that I can polish up my resume. Or what, I'm going to make sure I pencil in at least one weekend per month that I turn off from everything and just focus on myself and family. Especially if you're a parent. Like, if you're a parent, that's gonna be awesome for you to do with your children.
You need
Where it's like,
to.
it's this weekend, mommy, daddy, whoever, parents, we are cut off from the world as far as work relations, and we are focusing on you little ones. It's like, this is our family time together. What do you want to do? And it gives your children something to look forward to. It lets them see, like, yes, mommy and daddy are busy, but they make this time. Every month we have this time where it's just us, it's just family, and we forget how important that is. And although it may seem so small, and it may seem so small, but the impact is so much greater,
Greater. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
there's a lot of individuals that don't have that. And I do feel like, and I was speaking to a couple of other colleagues, and we all came to this consensus that the family aspect is not as strong as what it used to be, like when we were growing up. That it takes a village. That it takes a village kind of got a bit distorted. So it's important to bring that back. It's important to bring that back, because that then allows your children to feel like they can open up more to you about what they have going on at school.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say pick a focus, set 3 goals, and pencil in a weekend once a month where, if you have children, is solely for you and your children. And if you do not, that weekend is solely on
So,
self-care.
yep.
It's
Mm-hmm.
self-care. Is what does self-care look like for you? And you need to identify it. You do all of this internal inventory while you're starting to work your 6 month vision plan, so that you can look ahead and you can know what you're accomplishing. And trust me, this works because it allows you to keep a structure, as well as check things off as you go along.
True. Yeah.
So I will definitely say this is secret advice, secret
The
sauce advice,
secret
golden, right?
saucy advice. This is and
You just got a golden tip for free from Coach Barnes. This is definitely something that will absolutely help you all. So give it a try. There is no express ticket to healing. There is no express ticket to developing to the next level. You must do the work. And this is what doing the work looks like. Doing the work looks like self inventory, identifying a focus, identifying a plan, setting goals, and then execution.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Wow.
So
And
Coach Barnes here, CEO and founder of Gold Mind Thoughts. If you're just tuning in, thank you for tuning in. And you can find me at www.goldmindthoughts.com so that you can book a session or even just learn more about me from my website. You can follow me on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Coach Barnes G&T. And there's some great things. So there's some great things in the website as well as on my social media platforms. You have access to join the reconditioned community through my
the recondition. Tell me a
yeah,
little bit about that. Yeah. The
yeah. So the
recondition with Coach Barnes. And for
yes,
those of you on the podcast, I'm
love
holding
it.
up her
Thanks for
coffee
having your
mug.
mug. I
But
love it. I
yes,
love it. I love it.
so I'm holding that. But yeah, thank you. Tell us about that.
Right. So the reconditioned community is a group that I have that allows you to interact and engage with others who are developing themselves. And it's not public. It's you definitely have to subscribe to it. But with your subscription, it allows you access to real-time replays and feeds of different either workshops or my live streams, podcasts. There's a lot of things. So if you missed some things, you can now catch up on those things because I feed them through the reconditioned community, just because people have lives, they have work, and they may not always be available at the times that we're doing the podcast. But I also want them to be able to go back and hear those things, pull out whatever gems they can use, but also interact with others who are in similar situations. So you can kind of feed off of one another, share strategies that are working for you, tips, being in a specific situation and having access to someone else who are kind of going through a similar situation and saying, you know what, I tried these things and they worked for me. Maybe they'll work for you. That's great. It's a great place so that you don't feel alone. And the majority of the reconditioned community are my clients. So you have that, you all have that in common. But then there's also potential clients who are maybe not ready to financially be able to do a full package, but they are able to subscribe and get some type of tool. Because again, like I shared with you before, Jill, I definitely do my community service within the community. I offer, my humanitarian work. I offer free workshops once a month to individuals who need this type of service, but just don't have the financial stability at the time to pay for it. And so who am I to say that they're not deserving of getting the help that they need? Everyone is deserving of receiving help to better themselves. So if I can be that vessel that can pour this little bit into you, and not even a little bit, it's
A
so much
lot of
more.
it. It's a lot
It's
of
a
it.
lot,
Let's
right?
be
I
honest.
don't
Yep.
want to say a little bit because I don't want to diminish the value that you, because
Yeah.
I don't cut down the value just because I'm interacting with someone who does not have the financial stability to pay for a huge package. You get the same amount of me, you get the same service, you get, if you may not have the lift that someone has that can purchase a larger package, but I don't diminish or water down my practices because I want you to know that I am genuine when I say Coach Barnes is here for you. Coach Barnes is here to work alongside you so that you can develop yourself to be the best version of you.
Yep. Beautifully said. I love it. I love it. I love it. Any pointers or tips, where, a lot of kids going back to school, the stress of that, like you mentioned, the homework and all that, to us parents out there, what would you give us some advice? Because it does get a little hectic.
It does, right? It definitely does. And what I would definitely say is make sure that you, even if it is 30 minutes when you get home, you do that check-in. 30 minutes, if you can do that check-in and just listen and listen with empathy and listen with the intent that you're understanding what they're going through, not responding to what they're going through. So sit back, let your children express their day, what was going. You can ask them, say, hey, tell me, what was your song and what was your joy today? And they may say, well, what's a song? Like, what was the heaviest thing that you had to deal with at school today? Because to us, it may be like, oh, child, that's nothing. But to them, especially when they're children and they're teenagers or preteens, it's huge. Like within their world, like what how
Yeah.
school is,
Yeah.
especially we learned when we became adults that friendship comes and goes, and you'll outgrow some friendships, and some friendships will last a lifetime. But when we were little, when we were when we were young and we were adolescents, we were at that point where friendship was everything. It was like you were so devastated when someone wasn't speaking to you. It's like, well, why didn't I speak to me? I don't think I understand. And that's what a lot of our children are dealing with right now. And it right now with social media and technology, it's 10 times fold, right? Because there's so much bullying
Yeah.
that our kids are going through
Yeah.
right now. And it's because of the technology. It's because of they can start these group chats and then share it amongst people. They can post these little videos about, and so sometimes your children might not share that they're going
Yeah.
into having these experiences because they don't know how to address it, or they feel like you're just going to say, don't worry about it, shrug it off. But having that check-in
Is.
allows them to decompress, and then it allows you to know on the back end what's going on. And it allows you as a parent to say, okay,
Oh.
how do I help my child go through this without 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 them feeling like now I'm just, now I'm going to the school and I'm going to tear the school apart, because they have that fear of, if my parents come and say something about it, it's going to get worse. All children have that fear. So that's why they hide these things from you. So it's important that you do that check-in so that you can then, after that check-in, say, okay, so it sounds like
Right.
X, Y, and Z is happening.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? How do you feel like together we should address this? And even that sentence right there, how do you feel like together we can address this, removes a level of anxiety and stress from the child, because it's like, okay, so you're not going to go to school and not have to worry about anybody hurting me tomorrow. We're going to work through this plan together. And it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I was thinking this. And then you say, okay, I understand that. So what does that look like? And just talk them through the process. So once you go through the process, you can say, all right, so hey, you can do this. This is what you'll be responsible for doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I will be responsible for doing.
Yeah.
And then letting them understand the plan and how together you're going to address it.
Yeah.
Because they have to know the importance of it being addressed. And they have to know that if mommy or daddy or grandma, auntie, whoever it is, does not address this, then this could get worse and these things can happen, and I don't want that for you. So I need you to be on board, and I need you to go through this process with me so that I can ensure that you are getting what you need and you are safe, because you are my top priority. I can't speak for the others. They have their guardians and they have their family, but you belong to me. You are my top priority, and I'm gonna always be here to make sure you are safe, you are valued, and that you are loved. And that's what children need to hear.
Mm-hmm. Some adults too, yes.
Right.
You
And
want
some
to feel
adults too.
valued
Some
and loved,
adults
but
need
yeah,
to hear
no,
that as
no.
well. Some adults need to hear that as well. So it's really important in this day and age with bullying and social media and all the things that are happening in school, those 30-minute check-ins,
Yeah.
they're so important. And so if you walk away with anything today as it relates to trying to relieve the pressure and anxiety that your children are having returning to school, it will be that. It will be check in, check in, check in, check in. Allow that time for them to decompress their day
Yeah.
with you listening,
Mm-hmm.
not overpowering the conversation. listen, and then ask questions so that you guys can talk your way through it. Because we have to teach our children how to problem solve.
Okay.
Because that builds resilience. If
Yep.
we don't teach them how to problem solve, then their resilience doesn't develop in a way where they know how to handle adversity and challenges, bumps in the road.
Yep.
They don't understand how to handle those things because we haven't been teaching those things. And that's why we see so many people result to violence and outbursts and disruptions in classes and things of that nature, because that ability to problem solve and self-reflect on a situation hasn't developed. It hasn't been developed. So they go to what they know, and the best thing they know how to do is to act out.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the advice. And I love it. I love it. I love it. To all those people listening out there that want to get involved and live a better life and to work with you, how can we reach you?
Definitely go on my website, which is www.goldminethoughts.com. And you can book a consultation. You can book a 45-minute consultation session with me, and we can talk through whatever it is that you're going through and brainstorm on what package best works for you. And we can move steps forward from there. You can also email me at info@goldminethoughts.com. So that's another way that you can schedule an appointment. And all appointments are virtual. So it doesn't matter if you are here in New York. It doesn't matter if you're in California. It doesn't matter if you're Texas. Wherever you are, you can have access in this new world of reality, right? This virtual world, this virtual reality world. You have access to me now, so that's a great thing. So don't forget, follow me on social media at Coach Barnes GMT, as well as email me info@goldminethoughts.com, and my website is www.goldminethoughts.com. Coach Barnes,
So love talking to you as always. Thank you so much, and wishing you a happy and healthy Labor Day weekend. Any exciting plans you're looking forward to?
Yes, I'm actually my family is having a small intimate gathering for Labor Day, and we're gonna do it the day before. We're gonna do it the day before, but it's gonna be nice to just be around family and friends.
Yeah.
I haven't really been out since I've been sick, so like out in a large setting. So I'm going to open myself to be with my family and friends who haven't seen me in a while. So this is going to be exciting for me.
Good luck. Good for you. Enjoy. Thank you so much.
All right. Always a pleasure. Take care, Jill.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.